Welcome to the July 2022 edition of The Armourer. This month our cover feature is the Battle of Midway, where the Japanese Imperial Navy tried to ambush the American Pacific Fleet, but it all went horribly wrong. Read the feature to find out how the Americans discovered the Japanese plans and set a trap of their own. The result was that the Japanese superiority in aircraft carriers and naval air strength was wiped out, and it marked a turning point in the war in the Pacific. In our supporting feature, we're looking at the collectible military from the battle, including insignia, clocks, helmets and goggles. Also from World War II, author Neil Story takes a look at the wartime industries on the home front. These were the men and women who filled the factories, building planes, ships and munitions for the war effort. Between 1939 and 1945, British industry produced over 27,500 tanks and SPGs, over 26,000 armoured cars and more than 69,000 APCs. Turning back the clock to the Great War now, and we have a brace of features for you. Firstly, there's a look at one of the prototypes of the Royal Welsh Fusiliers fixed guard knife. These things were huge and designed for brutal hand-to-hand combat in the trenches. Then our resident firearms expert John Walter investigates the Lewis gun in World War I. This was known as the Belgian rattlesnake, mainly because of the noise it made and the fact that it came from Belgium. It proved to be very effective in the barren expanses of the Western Front. Also on the firearm front, but this time between the two world wars, we have the first of two features on air rifles and pistols, starting with those from British manufacturers. These were very popular at a time when general firearm use was being restricted thanks to the 1920s Firearms Act. The follow-up feature will look at ones from other countries as well. Another feature from between the wars concerns the Manville tear gas launcher, which was designed in the early 1930s. Only in America could you have the owner of a machine shop spending his spare time working on weapons technology, specifically in this case tear gas weapons. The Manville launcher was designed for crowd control and is an impressive looking item. Michael Heidler has the story for you. Next, Ed Hallett's series on accoutrements of the Warsaw Pact turns to East Germany. The interesting thing here is that the country was in the middle of updating a lot of military equipment, ready for use in the early 1990s. However, at this point the Berlin Wall came down, leading to German reunification. Although manufactured in small amounts, the equipment is still readily available on the collector's market. Now, if you've ever visited Blenheim Palace, you might know that it was built as a result of a famous victory by John Churchill, the General Earl of Marlborough. So, on our classic arms and armour side, Graham Priest is on hand to tell you all about the battle and the weapons that were used. Collectors of regimental insignia have a nice feature to check out. This is Ray Westlake's look at a selection of badges to the King's Liverpool Regiment. There are helmet plates, collar badges, pouch belt plates and cap badges included. Finally on the features front, there's the medal issued for securing the headwaters of the Nile via the east coast of Africa in 1894 to 1895. This is the Mwele medal, and apologies to Peter Duckers, the author of the article, if I've pronounced that incorrectly. It's an interesting story of an imperial campaign out in East Africa. There are all the usual features, such as news, military for sale, auctions, letters, a museum visit to Buckingham Palace to see the Japan Courts and Culture exhibition, which is very relevant considering the Platinum Jubilee celebrations coming up. And we have another competition for you, this time courtesy of Osprey Publishing. 3 winners will each bag copies of Flashpoints, Air Warfare in the Cold War, Hitler's Winter, the German Battle of the Bulge, and Your Guide to Walther Pistols. The digital edition of The Armourer is now on sale at www.pocketmags.com, while the print version hits the newsstands on the 1st of June. You can order this from our website at www.armourer.co.uk.